This is Tao Unbound, the English language podcast of Tel Aviv University. Please welcome your host, Aharoni, Tel Aviv University's graduate, member of the Board of Governors, lecturer, writer, and veteran diplomat.
Welcome to yet another episode of Tao Unbound. I'm Aharoni, your host, and today it is my great privilege and pleasure to host a very special guest who combines a very unique combination I must say we haven't had here since the very beginning of this podcast several years ago. Please welcome Hanna Jahanforooz.
Thank you very much. Thank you having me here. Yes.
And she just told me that the meaning of her name literally is Jahan is world,
Yes.
and Forooz is light. So
It's like light of the world.
the light of the world.
Yes,
Wow,
something
what a
like
beautiful name. What a beautiful name. And some people pronounce Jahan, Yahan, especially in Israel, just to make it more easy on the ear, but the name actually is Jahan. Well, Hanna is a very special combination of a cultural researcher, artist, and geopolitical expert. And what makes you such a special combination is that you are a singer, you're actually a performing artist, a recording artist, and your songs are available on YouTube. I listened to some of them. They're very good. I must say, you're very talented. I guess it runs in your family. And the fact that you were born in Iran, the revolution happened when you were 8, and by the time you were 12, you came to Israel. And so usually when we do those interviews, we always start with the personal story. So why don't you share with us whatever it is you feel comfortable sharing about the time of the revolution, what you remember from it, and your arrival in Israel.
So, as you said, I was born in Iran, Tehran, Jewish family, and my father worked at the bazaar, and he sold clothes, material, all these things. And actually we live very quiet life until the revolution, like all the Jewish people. And at the age of 7 or 8, I remember something start to happen. And people go out to the streets and they say, Marg bar Shah, that to the Shah. And they start expecting something to change, okay? And we know the revolution not come from anywhere it come, because it was bad life for some of people in Iran, not Jewish maybe. And I remember very hard moments. And when Khomeini come and Shah leave Iran, and we felt everything change. We go with chador and long clothes and all of this, but most of it, now everyone know you are Jewish, and because before it, all of us, and even now, we are Iranian. After it, we are Jewish, Muslim.
So as a young Jewish girl, you started to study in a Muslim school with a Muslim curriculum. Did you have to dress like a Muslim girl?
Yes, but in all the neighborhoods, schools, and they know we are Jewish. There was some Jewish people that didn't say they are Jewish, but we said, and I learned in Jewish and Muslim schools both, until age of 11, 12, that my father made a very brave decide to leave Iran and come to Israel. Actually, we ran away. It was middle of the Iran-Iraq war. And we ran from the mountains and all these things, the Afghanistan way. And we get here, yes.
And what do you remember from the rescue? I guess you were somehow rescued from Iran. How was it possible for you to leave Iran? How did you do it technically?
There is some groups from then there was some groups from Israel that the duty is help Iranian, the Sunni people, and Kurdish and Baluch, help groups like us, families like us, to run away from Sokhnut and all these things. And my father pay for each of us like $500. I say then, 1984, it was a lot of money for each of us. And it was scary.
So with the help of the organized Jewish world, you mentioned the Jewish Agency,
Yes.
you were able to come out of Iran during the Iran-Iraq War. 1984 is also when Israel was deeply in Lebanon, right?
Yes.
And the Iranians were developing their presence in Lebanon through Hezbollah, which was then only 2 years old or 1 year old.
Yes.
Established 1983. So you were in the middle of all of this, and so you arrive in Israel, and eventually you end up in Givatayim, which is a suburb of Tel Aviv. To those of you who don't know, it's a very nice town east of Tel Aviv. And how is your encounter with Israeli culture, with your Israeli peers?
So it was very hard for me because my DNA, every of me, all of me, everything on me is Iranian. Was Iranian, is Iranian. And
Now, when you say Iranian, tell us the difference in your view
yeah.
between Iranian and Persian.
Okay. The first thing, the beginning of the things my mom taught me, it's like teach me, don't look the grown person on his or her eyes. Okay, it's not. It's like chutzpah.
So you were not, out of respect, you were not supposed to look at older people
Yes.
in their eyes.
Yes.
So older meant what age?
No, it can be even my father. It can be my aunt, uncle, my teacher, my everything. But here in Israel, every time they say, "Look my eyes and talk to me," and when I didn't do it, they thought I'm like I don't have anything to say, or maybe I'm not okay in my head, or
So they misinterpreted
yes,
this,
of course.
that there's something wrong with you
Yes.
because you wouldn't look them in the eyes, which
Yeah.
the Israeli culture is very straightforward,
Yes.
very, very direct, and therefore there was an expectation.
Yes, so I can say until age of 29, I didn't look anyone's eyes. It was very hard for me, but I became Israeli or some kind of Israeli. But I have my daughter. She born here. She's totally Israeli. So I learned what not to teach her.
Yes, and that's actually a very, very interesting observation. The whole issue of eye contact.
Eye contact, of
It's
course.
very, very. I remember when I first came to New York as a tourist, in 1985, I was given the same instruction on the subway. Never look into people's eyes on the subway because that's an invitation, to get in trouble.
Yeah.
And so I know exactly what you're talking about. So you spoke. I'm going back to the question of the difference between Iranian and Persian. And so you feel more connected to contemporary Iranian culture or ancient Persian culture?
To the Iranian culture.
To the
of
Iranian
course,
culture.
Yes.
All right.
And this is my mind in this world or whatever, to research Iran's society, women of Iran, children, street children of Iran.
So yes, I noticed that one of the things that you would like to bring to the discussion is the abuse of children in Iran, which you said in one of the interviews that you gave, which I thought was fascinating, that this is an issue that no one's talking about. That there are about 7 million Iranian children that are being abused and they're out there in the streets trying to help their families to survive. And then just to mention to our listeners and viewers that Iran's population is well over 90 million people. It's actually close to 100 million people.
I have a very small podcast, Touch with Iran, and this is a place for me to talk about it, and it's very important. In my master's degree in University of Tel Aviv, of course, I wrote about it, and I start to search about it because, for me, I always be the girl from Iran that came to Israel, and it was very difficult for me with no language. And I have a very special place for the children. And when I recognize about these children on street, they can be Afghani, Iraqi people that run away actually from Iraq war then and came to Iran to have a better life. It's very paradox. And I feel I have to write about it. And my future plan, I begin my journey of a PhD and the next year, and I'm going to write about it. It's going to take time, but I'm going to do it. And with Professor Meir Litzbach, and I think, yes, it's my honor. And I think it's very, very important thing because children are our life.
Of course, they are the future, and we have to protect them. They're the ones who need protection in society. Now, tell us about your podcast. What's the name of the podcast?
Lagat Beiran, Lagat Balev, Touch with Iran, Touch with the Heart. And I talk about many things. It's
it's in Hebrew?
Yes, it's in Hebrew.
And where can we find it? Those of us
you can Spotify, YouTube, and I talk about Iranian cultures, society, music, many things, the culture, the colors, and this is my it's my job to do it.
So you feel this is your calling?
My calling to yes.
To make sure that people understand that there's more to Iran than the current unhappy geopolitical circumstances. There's more to Iran than the regime.
Yes, of course.
There's a rich culture, there's music, there are real people there.
Real
right?
people?
And they're good people. They're not bad people.
Of course, look at me.
And we need to help them, right? They need our help. Now,
Yes.
let me ask you, so you are being interviewed quite frequently in the Israeli media. What are your sources regarding Iran today? Where do you get your information? Don't mention any names. I just want to know, what are the sources of information that you have? How do you communicate with them in Iran? Because I know that the internet service, for example, is very limited, very slow. How do you communicate with them?
Look, I never ever talk with anyone from Iran because this is the enemy country, okay? And I keep a lot.
So there's no direct communication?
No. But many people from out of Iran, Iranian people, that write to me, and because of music, because of my social, work and all of this, and I read a lot, and I hear the voices. I can. It's different between me, born there, and know the language. It's actually my job. To teach Farsi and all this, and between me and someone learn the language, Farsi language from the university or whatever, because I know the small nuance,
right?
The tone, and it's very important, so I can feel what's going on there. And this is it. I do many, as you said, many TV interviews, this world before this one, and I feel my job is and my duty is to give another perspective. Iran, it's not just a bomb and Ayatollah and Pezeshkian and all of this.
Right.
Yes.
And I remember when I served as a young Israeli diplomat in California, in Los Angeles, there was actually a radio station in Farsi that was operated by people that opposed of course, the Islamic regime. They, I think that the person who established it was a former member of parliament under the Shah, who settled in Los Angeles after 78, 79. And they actually used to interview people in Iran, which I guess today is something that is impossible to do because the regime is tightening its grip on the people.
Yes.
So let me ask you, given the fact that the aspiration to see a regime change has been there since the very beginning, right? So there's been like a fantasy of the Iranians that live outside of Iran, like yourself. What do you think is going to happen? So clearly the war has not achieved in a sufficient way any of the goals, right? There's no regime change. There's no end to the nuclear program, and they still have conventional military capabilities. So none of the three goals were sufficiently achieved. And I use the word sufficiently because there was damage done to the nuclear program. There's no question that there was damage done to the conventional capabilities, and maybe there are better conditions today for a regime change. But what's your take on this, about the war?
It's going to take more time than we thought then, and we are thinking now because, as you say, the regime, not change, became worse. And now we can see more and more people hanging through the street in Isfahan, in Tehran, and they know there from the regime that they have to be tight like this. So they don't want to lose all they have. So this is the issue here.
So they know that the alternative to not being in power is total annihilation and brutal annihilation,
Of
right?
course.
They're going to be massacred, and therefore they're... Now, there's a big debate in the West among researchers. If the regime was able to survive because it is so highly centralized and is so brutal and is willing to abuse its own people, or the other school of thought argues that they were able to survive because they're not centralized, because they are actually decentralized, and because you are looking at the end of the day at the network of gangs that take care of their own interests and really don't care about Iran. They're corrupt to the bone, and that's the reason why you can't bring them down, because there's no one person. It's a bunch of gangs.
Both of them, it's right. But
You say both scenarios
yes,
coexist.
of course. Both of these scenarios are they mix, because Trump, I think his goal is money and gas and all of this. And when he said to the Iranian people, "Go out, we are bring the help," or whatever.
Yeah, he said help is on the way.
Help is on the way. So they actually get out and to the streets, and they kill almost 40,000 people. So nothing gonna change, and the most it's like political thing. If there is gas through from Hormuz and all these places, he don't want a war. He don't want it. Why he began it from the first? Because he thought Iran is like Arab countries. But Iranians are very intelligent people. And It's not going to happen. So he didn't calculate exactly what's going to happen.
So you say when you say he thought that Iran's regime is more like the monarchies that we see in the Arab world, which it's easy to bring them down if you bring down the monarch or the family that
Like
rules.
the Shah,
Like
because
the Shah.
they do it.
Right, exactly.
Definitely.
But what they did is they created the Islamic Revolution, created a very complex bureaucracy that employs 1 million people on the payroll, has several military entities, several law enforcement entities, more than one secret police, right? So it's a very, very complex system of government. And so that's one of the reasons they cannot be brought down just by taking out Khamenei.
Of course.
And you say that was the main miscalculation of Trump. Now, the big question is, if the current strategy of the Americans, which is putting a blockade on the blockade, I think the president said it in his own words that they don't believe that Iran's economy will be able to sustain a blockade on the blockade, meaning a system of more than sanctions on pressure, a system that applies constant pressure on Iran's economy. He believes they won't be able to sustain it. What's your take on it? Do you think they will?
Not as the past. The economy is in very, very bad situation. Million people don't have work, money, and but the regime has the money for themselves to keep going if they can still keep Hezbollah and Hamas and all of these things, so they have the money, but they don't have the money for the people. So if anything going to change or people going to back to the streets, it's going to take time, as I said, but the economy going to be worse and worser, but they're going to keep going. The regime keep going. It's not going to change now, and Trump understand it now because as we say, if you want to shoot, just shoot. Don't talk about it.
Right.
And he all the time talk about it, and they laugh at him from Iran, the regime, Iranian regime.
Yeah. Well, I think there's no debate that the war and its goals were poorly communicated, right, from the get-go. It wasn't coherent. It wasn't clear. They changed the goal every day. In the United States and also here in Israel, the leadership changed their messages constantly on the issue of really what is it that we're trying to achieve, right? The big question is boots on the ground, yes or no? What do you think is the ultimate, if the Americans want to achieve a regime change and to do it in the foreseeable future, what do they have to do? Do they have to put boots in the ground? Do they have to conquer the strategic institutions in Tehran? What will it take to bring down physically this regime?
I think first of all, the ethnic groups like Kurdish, Baluchi, all the ethnic groups, majority groups that suffer like 47 years from this regime. If from the first day they gave them, possibility to war or something like this, it could be. Yes, and the boots on the ground. Yes, and from Tehran, from the big places, Isfahan, Shiraz.
So what you're saying is that boots on the ground would have to combine the minority groups that are greatly suffering under the regime, that are in the northern part of Iran, but also with soldiers of the United States and its allies. So it has to be a combination. And I was under the impression that there was an attempt to train those minority groups and to arm them. But apparently, according to what I'm hearing from you, between the lines, this didn't really happen sufficiently.
No, but just maybe Kurdish people. And we can't forget the security police in Iran, they besiege and all. They are everywhere, round everywhere. It's like you can't trust anyone there. If you talk with someone, maybe my neighbor, it's
Right.
It's
Now,
like 90 million people. It's like this. It's very, very difficult.
Now, what kind of message would you say could work vis-a-vis the Iranian people? I'm not talking about the Iranian regime. So here we are in Israel. There are lots of people that speak Farsi here, like yourself. There are a lot of people that can communicate with the Iranian people. I know that our prime minister did it himself at one point in 2025. He actually approached the Iranian people directly, which I thought was a very effective way to talk to the Iranian people and to tell them our war is not with you, it's with your regime. What do you think are the additional messages that could work from the West, from the US, from Israel to the Iranian people?
First of all, I think the Iranian people know that the issues is just with the regime. They know it, definitely. But there is something very beautiful in Farsi language that when you talk it to the other Farsi speakers in Farsi, it can make the powerful thing that something can change. If you talk to them in English or whatever, it's not the same, okay? Because when you talk in Farsi, talk to my heart. It's like this.
Yeah. So what you're saying is the first thing that has to be,
of course, in Farsi.
in their own language. But in terms of the content of the message, what would you say could work?
Could work.
Do they understand, for example, the constraints of leaders in the Western world and the fear that President Trump has to engage in any kind of military operation that involves boots on the ground? Do they understand the sensitivities?
Yes, of course. The problem is he said many things and many things he didn't do. So this point, they don't know who to trust. Right. It's actually, if they go out to the street, and I'm sure they want to do it again, but they are scared. Maybe again we go out and they're going to kill us again. So now it's a big paradox what's going to happen. But if we keep going and we talk with them, to the people, and not said the regime, blah, 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 in Farsi, and the radio stations in Farsi, talk to the people. Open the, microphone, open the Instagram, open the camera, and talk to them. For me, I think it's a very important thing, and it can make the change that they know. Yes, it's going to happen. And not all the time, the regime like this and the regime stole your money or or whatever, kill you. They know they killed them. They know they stole the money. But talk to them, give them we said, قوة قلبي, something strong for their heart.
Yeah. That's makes a lot of sense. What you're saying is engage in a conversation that resonates emotionally rather than facts. Facts are important, but facts do not connect with emotions. And what you're saying is try to connect with them on an emotional level, and that. Now, are the Israelis the decision makers? Are they? Do you feel that they're listening to you? Are they consulting with you? Or there's any indication that you have any influence on them?
I think, yes, I do my best, okay? I know in other situations, it could be more of me, okay? But this is it. And I take what is it? Every time I go to the TV or talk in the radio, and I explain what's going on with the people inside, because there are a lot of people talk about the regime and the military and the guns and the hormones and all of this, but what's happening with the people? I think it's more important, because the people are the country. So I think yes, all the time they're like, as you said it, the first, wow, I didn't know that in Iran, like children's, women, actually a lot of women fight in the Iran-Iraq war. There was in Iran like a prison in Iraq, like
female prisoners.
Yes, of course, and a lot of stories like this. So and it's very important for me to say, if I can change mind of anyone or build a bridge between the people, I do my best.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the future. So you mentioned that you're going to write a PhD dissertation. Do you know your subject yet?
Of course.
What's going to be your subject?
The children of streets.
The children, the Iranian children in the streets of Iran.
Yes.
And you're going to look at their well-being. You said that there's a big issue of prostitution.
Everything. There is everything here. I think I'm gonna take from end of the world, 1988, when after it Khamenei became the leader in Iran. Khomeini died, and many things changed. And
you say the war, you mean the Iran-Iraq?
Yes, of course. I still live that war, but that is my birthplace and my beginning point of to see everything in this world. It changed me, and of course the children. And I gonna look forward it, and I gonna search more and more about these children, even after COVID. What's happening to these kids?
Right, this whole generation.
Yes,
right?
because a lot of them use drugs, and they use drug even then with the forget.
Yeah, they inject.
Yes, of course, inject.
Wow.
Yes. And what about the COVID then? And they still look after food in the garbage and take a garbage. It's
So what you're saying is that they're facing extreme circumstances.
yes, and I remember Professor Amos Nadan told me that it's very powerful and very hard to hear it, write about it, and search it. And he told me if you was younger, you couldn't do it. And I think it's right, because it's very difficult.
Because you're dealing with very difficult
Yes,
materials.
yes.
Well, Hanna, I would like to thank you for taking the time, stopping by here in our studio and having this incredibly interesting and insightful conversation about the situation in Iran. Thank you for your commitment to help the people of Iran and to serve as their voice in the Western culture and in the Israeli culture. You are the embodiment of the bridge that music and culture can play. And thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you.
And once your dissertation is ready, we'd like to host you again and hear about your findings.
Thank you very much.
And to our viewers and listeners back home from Tel Aviv, goodbye until our next episode.